Montana, for Montana, Voices of Montana, with Tom Schultz usually, but he's on vacation. You can call in today at 866-627-5483 or text a comment or question to 781-627-5483. Now, here's your mystery guest host. Oh, he's not a mystery. It's Gabe Erickson.
Thanks, Cody. I always appreciate how you set me up.
I never know what's coming out. It's a mystery to me too.
Well, so you had said yesterday when you called into our show, you were at the BBER Economic Outlook Seminar.
Yes.
You called in and you said, "Man, I hope those guys bring coffee."
Yes.
And sure enough, they brought coffee.
Yoo-hoo!
So I'm sipping on some Sinful Bliss. That is the name of the latte, not my life motto. But it's exciting to have these two in studio because what they are doing is incredibly unique. And I want to introduce Damian Forrester and Mackenzie Brown. How are you guys doing?
Good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so you guys are the co-owners, co-founders of Sacred Grounds. And I'm going to leave it at Sacred Grounds because every time we go to say coffee, there's like healing and studio. There's so much more to what you guys are doing. And even on your website, I'm looking and I don't see the word coffee for a few sentences or paragraphs, right? It's really a special place. And I remember the first time stepping in, just thinking, this place is different. And I want to just set it up too that, Montana, I just learned is like the 9th in the nation when it comes to sustainability of startups over time. So, I mean, that's good news,
That's
right?
Awesome, yeah.
That's a good thing, right?
Good, yeah. Obviously coffee's a big deal. So tell me how, what's the story here? I mean, Mackenzie, you kind of had this vision from a very young age.
Yeah. So in 4th grade, our teacher wanted us to come up with a PowerPoint presentation on what we wanted to do with our lives. And I just knew that I wanted a healing center for everybody to come and enjoy each other and heal, basically. So.
All right. See, we're not talking about coffee yet. I mean, you're in 4th grade. You catch this divine vision. It sounds like. I was reading on your website more of your story, but you spent 17 years kind of just doing life and the best you could. You were in healthcare.
Yeah, for about 17 years. Yeah.
What'd you do in healthcare?
Oh, lots of different things. CNA work, unit clerk. I worked at the hospital, all the assisted living facilities. Yeah.
Just getting your hands and feet wet. Yeah. What were some of the issues? I mean, because I know you incorporate a lot of healing aspects to the space.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some other people on. I mean, remember that, Cody, when we had the people on about the self therapy, and I had forest bathing, and Cody was waiting for where's the bath take place, but it's just walking through the woods. So I try to bring on holistic, healers in their own way, but that's part of what you're doing now. Why did that become part of this thing?
I just really wanted, like I said before, I really wanted people to just come and have a place that they can hang out and drink amazing coffee, because I feel like coffee is also healing. And just and just experience the different modalities that we offer here at Sacred Grounds. Yeah.
What did you learn in the system that helped clarify this vision? I'm curious about that.
That's a good question.
Any frustrations or?
Oh yeah, just taking care of patients and clients, and just seeing that they're not being heard, and just getting pushed through the system, basically, in healthcare.
Yeah. So you have tell us about Sacred Grounds then as a whole. What's your elevator pitch, or you can take as long as you want, but it's a long elevator, right?
Better than I am. I guess the quick elevator speech is, Sacred Grounds is a place for culture. It's non-denominational. It's a place for healing, people to get together, people to come from different walks and get to understand and not be judged. It's a place for getting some great coffee, understand what the healing process is all about holistically. As well as bringing people together with the arts. So we do have an art studio there. That's where we have that. An event center where we can have live music. It encompasses a lot of everything that I see and that we see that Billings is lacking. So bringing people together and understanding that there's a community out there for everyone to love on each other.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking before the show about, this is Voices of Montana, right? Do you see this anywhere else in the state?
Let me start with you. I mean, when I first heard about it, it took me by surprise. I was like, wow, this is incredible. Where else in there, not in Billings, I know, in the state is there? And then, I don't know, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of any other place doing what we're doing. Incorporating coffee and healing and a one-stop shop for all your spiritual needs.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of cool coffee places. I've been to a lot of them.
And there's some incredible coffee places in town. I mean, and I've been to pretty much, I think, each and every one of them, but at the same time, as great as these coffee places are, I don't think they offer the experience. And that's the key word right there, the experience that we have to share with all of Montana and people that visit. I mean, talk about visitors. We have people on the weekends when I'm over there. People say, well, either we've driven through, or we saw the sign, or we heard about it, and they're from Colorado, North Dakota, California, Oregon, Washington, that people have come and they're making it their home, which is pretty incredible. So I think it's good. I know it's going to grow to be more than what it is right now.
Yeah.
Great.
No, that's incredible. When I was doing some research just to see what do I know about coffee in Montana, but Montana is actually the ninth state as well when it comes to per capita residents to coffee chains.
Oh, wow.
So, there's a lot of room for growth here. And I think when I first met with you guys, I asked you that, were you nervous about any oversaturation? And no kidding, a week later, I met one of our commercial real estate broker that I know, and he was telling this group of people there is so much room for coffee expansion and ideas and businesses here. So you guys are kind of getting in, I would say, at the beginning of the wave, even though it seems like there's all these other coffee shops around.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to ask Mackenzie, about our coffee, since you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a little bit more of our coffee?
So we get our coffee from Portland. Groundworks is the company.
Okay.
It comes from Portland. They also have another office in LA, but it's
You have some unique ways you walk in, there's just bed of coals and different things. What is that whole thing about?
we do Turkish, Greek, and Egyptian coffee over the hot sand.
So
it's
over hot sand.
Yeah, it's the way that we brew it. It's the traditional way to brew it.
Can you tell me about that as if I'm an 8-year-old, please? Because I'm trying to picture what does that even mean?
So we have this pitcher is called an e-brick, and we put it in the hot sand, and then you put your ingredients in the e-brick, and then you bring it to a boil 3 times, and that's when you know it's finished. But it's a bold coffee. It's not bitter by any means. It's a good sipping coffee.
What is I guess the difference between that process and what we're getting elsewhere, like drip or pour over and things like that? Mm-hmm. Can you notice a difference in texture?
Yeah, texture and taste.
Really?
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so coffee aficionados out there, if you've ever tried this kind of process, I guess this is a destination just for that alone.
Yeah, I get mixed up on the different types. So the Greek, Turkish, and Egyptian.
So the Turkish is kind of the base for the other two. It's the coffee grounds and a little bit of brown sugar, and then the Egyptian has cinnamon, and the Greek has cardamom in it.
Oh, so it's just a different ingredient that makes that special part of the world.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And I love how Damian's asking questions because he's probably learning every day.
Every day. Between the different, as they call modalities, within sacred grounds, as well as the coffee types, I've learned and I love my coffee, but I was so used to, the cappuccinos and the regular, but the different flavors that we experiment every day on something. Even this morning when I walked in before you, Sammy, one of our baristas, she's like, hey, try this. And it was a frozen coffee drink. I was like, oh my gosh, what is it? And she's like, it's this, that, and that. I'm like, God, how did you come up with this? I just experimented. I'm like, oh great, we're going to put that one on that list.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
Well, because if we're just talking about your guys' different backgrounds, go into you kind of told us the 4th grade story, the healthcare story, but he kind of had this vision for the space with the coffee. How did you get involved in it?
how many years? No, 10 years?
About 10 years.
10 years since I was with them helping them find a home. Okay, because I'm in real estate, just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
Damian Forrester with real estate. And so they helped them find a home, and then life went on. They purchased that home, life went on, and they got a hold of me July of last year, sometime June, July of last year, and they sat me down. They needed to find a new location to expand because they were in the Heights in a retail shop, and they had to leave. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And then they called me and helped them find something. We were looking around, and then the more I got to know what they were looking for, the more they were talking about their vision, and I was like, wow, that sounds pretty incredible. And so they sat me down, and literally the CAD drawing, I keep saying this, people, that he created, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, like, this is incredible. This is like nowhere else in Billings. And so as time went by, I was like, okay, I'm in. You know, what do we need to do? And so we put this plan together, and we shopped around for a location, and then we found the location at 2950 King Avenue West, over there by Pierce Flooring, just 5,000 square feet, which allowed us to have the coffee hub, all right, and then around it, retail with the holistic gems, sage, local retailers also, and crafters. And then we also have a number of vendors. So in-house modalities and vendors that have been with us since the start. All right. So each location is a bit different. We have Catherine, which has the more massage and reflexology.
Yep.
And then we have Scars by Walter. He does these amazing scars and now into ties, all silk, handcrafted, imported. He designs all of them, where that every design, and he created the graphic designs on them from all of his travels, and everyone has a story. I think he's like 34 different styles that are there. And then the art center, where we do live music, karaoke, and open mics, and also we do events in there that has birthday parties, corporate events, lectures. We have a number of things planned for February already. We're talking about that.
A movie screening.
Yeah, movie screening. We got a lot of things going on. And then beyond the coffee shop, around the corner, we have a free reading library. In that free reading library, you can bring a book, take a book, leave a book, bring 10 books, get a free drip coffee and tea. And then finally in the back, we have Rose that does her life readings, and then Reiki. I can't really explain Reiki well to you, but I had it and it was awesome. And that's by April.
Yeah, April Beach is one of our Reiki masters. Catherine's also a Reiki master.
Okay.
So I'm aware of Reiki, but I don't know if a lot of our listeners have any clue. So what is Reiki?
The best way that I can explain it is channeling universal energy and just healing the client through your palms, basically. It's an energy exchange. So
it's touch free.
Yeah.
So you're actually like just in their space without even touching.
Right.
But if you believe that there's any sort of like, I guess, bio field around a human, then that's kind of what you're working in, right?
Absolutely.
Is that energy that we exude, and if there's anything negative, that practitioner's working it out, or
just trying to get rid of it or ease it or whatever.
How are you overcoming? Well, actually, I'm gonna ask this question. Let's go to break, and then I've got a few more questions about how are you overcoming probably a lot of misconceptions about what is a coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
That's next on Voices of Montana.
Thank you.
Dude, that time flew by.
What time?
It's 9:20 already.
Holy crap.
So there's one more segment, and it ends at 9:35.
Oh.
But I want to ask you a question.
What question is it?
Just like, these are, think of this audience here, it's probably a lot of farmers and things like that. So how do you,
I'd like to make
how do
sure
you
my
get
tax
people interested when
obligations
this
are
is,
minimized.
even for non-farmers, this is new stuff, right?
Yeah, it's all, there's a wide group of people, but they, I'm wondering, the studio. So is that like art studio? Am I doing clay, or am I painting, or is it a music studio? Like, are you mixing music and
Right.
cutting records? You know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. What that part is, and how it all kind of blends together. You know, the Reiki thing. I was like, okay, what's that?
So if you
People want to know.
put your hand out like that, just you'd be like laying down, but a Reiki healer would just be like moving through your space.
It's like chi. It's like your chi, energy that you have when you do Tai Chi, bringing those that.
Tai Chi, so Chi and Reiki have the same.
Gotcha. So they just move that.
Yeah.
Do they then have to go cleanse themselves? Because I mean, if they're taking negative energy out of you,
They show themselves.
okay. Because my wife was like, "I'll rub your feet, but then you got to pay me." You know, because you're like she's pulling out stuff. You know, and she goes, "And if you don't, the Chinese say if you don't, you'll get it." My mom says this too, and so you got to at least give me a penny.
That's funny. Yeah, no, that's a great time to bring up. Because, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, there's people that walk in there and they take 2 steps in, they look around, and they turn around, you know. And so, not very often. No, not very often. I'm not saying that. That's not the case.
It happens.
But it happens, you know.
So they're not aware.
Yeah, it's a mindset, you know. So, but it's, you give an opportunity, you give it a chance, and see what it's all about. It's not about, you know what I mean? It's just about.
And that's the healing part. That's what my next was like. If I come in with an injury, I've just got cut up. Now I'm how is I've had surgery. Do you help with that kind of healing, or is it just mental healing, spiritual healing, all those things?
Yeah.
More spiritual. Okay. So those are things.
Yeah, we'll get into this. That's good. I love it.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys were there. Hi guys. Hi.
You get the whole conversation.
Yeah. Coming up next. Oh man, that's awesome. I would say if anybody has any questions, please put them in, and we will get back to it as soon as we can, as soon as we're done here.
1 more minute.
Or you can call
Yes.
this number right here and talk live.
There you go. Oh.
Or you can even send a text if you like, right there, and we'll pass that along to the guests, and they'll be able to answer that one as well.
Love it.
They're coming up on 30 seconds. And then we'll have about 11 and a half minutes, 11 minutes. About 10 minutes. 10 and a half. 10 and a half.
All right, I'll go by pretty quick.
15 seconds.
This year, we take a special look at the potential of green energy. We start in Helena on January 23rd. Visit economicoutloukseminar.com to see what we need to do you.
Here we go.
Gabe Erickson on Voices of Montana, filling in again for Tom Schultz. I'll be back here tomorrow as well, and we're going to have Neil Byer in talking about real estate and some market trends.
Well,
And I'm looking forward to that conversation. That should be in-depth. If you're looking to buy a home, if you're looking to sell a home, Neil ain't selling himself. He's just here to give us the information. So that's going to be a great conversation tomorrow. Today, we are talking all things coffee, but coffee is part of an ethos of healing and spiritual awareness and awakening. I don't know how this emulsification of ingredients came together, but it did in these 2 gentlemen, which is really cool. And so I've got Damian Forrester and Mackenzie Brown, the co-owners and founders of Sacred Grounds. It's Sacred Grounds Coffee, the healing studio, the art studio, all sorts of things, right? And as we went to break, I was going to ask you, Mackenzie, to talk more about, you're talking about Reiki, and in between segments, we're chatting about how that has some roots with other things like your chi and things like that. But how are you, a lot of these things are still being discovered in the more like mass understanding. So how are you dealing with that? How do you it's really hard to talk about things that are meaningful in one sitting, right?
Right.
So how are you, I guess, coming across that narrative of how Western medicine and other things should be, and just what you're trying to create here?
Just education, just sitting everybody down or walking around and showing the shop and just kind of explain what each person does. And if they have questions, I usually pull the practitioners aside and have them explain a little bit better. But
Yeah. Do you find people, is there like hesitancy to try some of these things, or are people pretty open-minded to it?
they're pretty open-minded, I feel. Yeah, definitely.
More or less. I mean, there are some that, you know, walk in and they're like, oh, what is this? And they get the coffee and they take off. But then there are some that really sit, stay. I mean, they plan on being there for 2 minutes and they're there for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, asking questions, looking at things, getting to know the different practitioners. And like Mackenzie said, it's all about education. You know, it's one of those things you fear what you don't know, right? So yeah, I think we do a really good job, and the practitioners that are there are very open to educating and advocating what they do in a very positive light.
Talk about the non-denominational aspect of this. You know, when we talk about healing, it's not walking in with a broken leg. There's nothing you guys can do for that, right? Like, first of all, we're talking about more of a spiritual experience, would you say?
Yeah, definitely spiritual.
Yeah. Tell us about that non-denominational aspect of that, and you know, really reaching across.
So, I mean, we open our doors to everyone, you know, regardless of color, race, gender, you name it, regardless of what your beliefs are, regardless of anything. We're just looking for our place to be a very positive light for anybody to walk in. So, I mean, as soon as you walk in, you should feel that vibe, you know? And so when we start talking about religion and politics, and that's just not the place for it. You know, but regardless if you're liberal, if you're conservative, you're walking down the line, that's not the place for it, right? It's a place for everyone to come and have a great time, connect, learn, understand. And you know what? If you feel that something is calling you for one of those modalities that we have in there, you have questions, well, that's where we are and that's what we have. And it's open for everyone. And we want to build that, you know, not just in Billings, but, you know, across the state, maybe even across the country. Who knows where this is going to land in the next 2 or 3 years? You know, we've already been asked, hey, when are you guys going to franchise? You know, so just hearing that alone, and I always have to say, you know, one of the things that we get most statements is that, you know, thanks for being here. You know, this is needed. This is what Billings need. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah. Walk me through, and Mackenzie, this is like your 4th grade dream, and now here you have it at your fingertips in real life. What is that like?
It doesn't seem real.
There, or putting it out there for that first time, like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Like, is there any, you know, how's that entrepreneur's journey been?
Incredible. It's just from start to finish, it's remarkable. Yeah.
Can you imagine doing it alone? Because you've got a guy like Damian.
No.
It's a lot.
I rely on him for a lot of things. So yeah.
You're doing amazing yourself, trust me. I mean, every time I walk into the space, there's something different that I see. And if I don't see it, someone catches me and say, did you see this? I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And it's all his mind and hands. It's incredible. Anything visionary that you see in there, it's Mackenzie. It's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really balance each other out, and that's what I'm learning is, you know, he's got this vision and he understands the modalities and he understands the coffee even. Yeah. And then Damian's like, I love coffee, you know, but you really are like plugged into the community and you're this extrovert and all that stuff. And so you're getting the word out and all of that. I mean, really good pairing, I would say.
I think so. We'll get a combination here. I think so. There we go.
A fist bump was thrown for those listening in. I'm curious again, from your perspective, you know, starting a new business is not just this easy thing, but I mean, from my perspective, y'all made it look easy. But tell me about, you know, that walk and that path. Like, what was some of the work that had to go in to make this possible?
The day we signed the lease for that place, it was blood, literally sweat, literally tears, literally. I mean, from the day of opening, we didn't find out we can actually open until 15 minutes before we can open. It was. Yeah, it was deputy. Thank you, Deputy Fire Chief. I love you to death. You're an amazing individual. And so, you know, he's
listening. He's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna name it, but I'll just tell you. No, seriously. I mean, we if you look at the floors, that was us.
Yeah.
It took us an extra 3 weeks, almost a month, to get the floors smooth and stained. No, we didn't stain it, but polished and everything. Painting was done by us. We had some great contractors that helped us out. It was up until the day, the ordering of the coffee, the merchandise and the organization. And as you can probably see, since we've opened up, we've probably changed the whole concept probably 3 or 4 times, and it just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of support. Thank you so much for the general public here in Billings, Montana.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We can't thank you guys enough for allowing us to share this space with you and doing all that we can to help support not only those inside the coffee shop, but outside the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's great. Yeah, I got to ask, so just for our reference, Mackenzie has to leave after this next break. So I want to make sure we're tapping into you as much as we can while you're here. Obviously, you brought me a lot to this morning. It's fantastic. When it comes to the vision, what's next? You know, when you think about, not to push the franchise specifically, but where could this go in your dream world with all the money and all the things at your disposal?
Well, we've already been asked to be a part of the Renfest, being the exclusive coffee provider, which we're really excited about.
Renaissance Festival, for those that don't know what that is.
Yeah, Renaissance Festival. Okay, that's exciting.
Also, we are. I have to go to the zoo today to look at the space to see if we can set up an area for our coffee at the zoo. So that's I feel like that's a good few couple of steps until we are ready to make that decision to franchise or to open at a second location. And yeah.
As you consider some of those growth opportunities, are you somehow incorporating the rest of everything we've talked about with the healing and the ethos and stuff like that, or is it maybe that some places might just be coffee as a kind of a warm opening to the brand or the company? I'm curious.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm right now going to all these different locations and people, which is great. Thank you once again, Billings, for seeing who we are and what we are. The coffee is amazing, and so for in the smaller spaces that we want us, definitely be focusing on the coffee.
Yeah.
For the next major move and probably, who knows, the Heights or wherever, we got to start East End, we got to share the love. Second location. And then, once we get all that nice and tight, then start looking at talking to individuals or lawyers and such about franchising and what that looks like and expanding. Because like I said, we've had people talk to us about coming to the areas already.
How do you create systems when you're looking at this multiversal thing?
Systems is one of the most important things in the business.
Right.
If you don't have that, you're going to flounder, you're going to fail, honestly. So if you don't have your systems in place right now, and that's why it's going to take us, and as long as it takes to perfect what we have, so we can duplicate where we need to be.
Yeah, Mackenzie, before you go, man, just any last words, anything you want people to know before we go to break?
Yeah, just come on into Sacred Grounds and soak up the good vibes and just hang out and enjoy yourself.
Mackenzie's the guy with the beanie. You just go on up and just say hi. And he's always got the biggest smile. He's got artwork up there himself, which is really impressive. So, I got to thank you, Mackenzie, before you take off for coming in today and putting yourself out there. I know Damian tends to be the face of these things, but I really appreciate you joining us. So, Mackenzie Brown and Damian Forrester. We'll come back after the break and talk more about Sacred Grounds and more about this healing aspect as well. That's coming up next on Voices of Montana.
Awesome.
Good job. All right.
Great.
And I'm hoping to do the zoo. Is it going to be a permanent thing at the zoo, or is it just for this event?
We are in talks right
Okay.
now.
You just forced their hand because it's live. So.
Yeah.
And it's still live.
Yeah. We're in talks right now.
Okay.
Nothing is positive. I mean, everything is positive.
I say yay, because we go to the zoo a lot. We have, season pass, and the little one, she's 7. She's always like, can we get something? I'm hungry, or I want to get something. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. But if there's coffee, we can all enjoy it, because she loves coffee too. There you go.
So, not just stuff we have, not avocados, but
Hi, everybody.
kindnesses and things and all that. Hey, you gotta go.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay in. Thanks for coming.
So Friday is like the 4-H. Is there a name for the show? Or?
It's where they're highlighting. What is it? I'll be right back. It should be official.
You make things so easy as a host. You're awesome.
Well, hey, appreciate it.
Great.
That means a lot because you've been on a lot of stuff. So.
You're doing amazing.
Hey, thanks.
Pointing things out to people. That's great host does that.
I appreciate it. It's like I said, I know you've been on some shows, so I just wanted it to be like easy. It should just be like a conversation.
No, like I said, I'm a cloudy introvert. You know, all this stuff is like great, but when that end of the day comes, unless I have to go ahead and show homes and everything, I'm back on, you know. But my time, there's so much going on in our lives right now. It's just like space for yourself. Yeah.
For over half a century, Montana.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that describes myself that way. Because I'm an introvert extrovert.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm like,
Understand agriculture and the commitment it takes to
they seem small, you know.
If you're
Yeah,
looking for a
get
Montana
to know
bank
so
that
many
cares
people.
about your operation and offers quick
It's
turnaround,
incredible.
local decisions,
People
and
that are
flexible
out there and
terms,
positive.
then look no further than Stockman Bank,
But sometimes I
Montana's
think that
brand of banking.
I'm free stuff.
Member FDIC.
Were you born here in Billings or
I'm
Montana?
in New York originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Born in Brooklyn, New York. My wife in Cancun, and here I am.
Nice. How long have you been here in Montana?
05, so
Is this it?
No. I was just checking to make sure no spots dropped. We're gonna have trouble.
Sharply higher prices on the light counts in Miles City
Incredible
yesterday.
watching the back end of this stuff. You
330
gotta be like,
I could not do that. Maybe you can show me something. I don't want to learn it.
I don't want to learn it.
You make it look easy. But
and then you're type like engineer, right? Is that the,
But I do news. I do the northern. I work on the news department too. So I do this and then work with news. Do news stories. It's in the afternoon.
And at Montana Livestock Auction, the whale.
I'm gonna take a second before we get back into it because there's a fairly big chunk of time. What's the next? Is it 53?
Go 53. Yeah, that'll give you. You know, if you do 53, you have a little bit of time afterwards if you want to have something to say. If you push it to 54, it's still okay.
Okay.
Just depends on how much time you want after the break to talk.
Just to recap.
what you gotta do? Yeah, no, absolutely.
So this is the countdown right here. So whenever you see the music, the bumper going, you look at that.
And you can. I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask
30
you a couple things.
Oh, I can turn this one off then. No.
The fastest hour in
Here,
Montana radio.
you become.
I'm now.
Yes, and I'll take this off.
5483.
All right.
Montana's statewide radio talk show. Voices of Montana with Tom Schultz.
Not Tom Schultz. This is Gabe Erickson filling in for the man himself. And thank you for listening to Voices of Montana this morning. We're having a great conversation. I am hyped up on an espresso thanks to my two guests that came in from Sacred Grounds. But before we get back to that conversation, I just want to ask Cody, because you were at that BBER Economic Outlook seminar.
Yes, sir.
And you gave us a fantastic rundown live from the event. But also, what were your takeaways now that you're on this side of it?
A lot of information was shared. I would encourage people, business owners and the farmers, ranchers, anybody, because they cover a lot of topics from tourism to healthcare to agriculture and just a lot of information to take in. So I would suggest that the remaining seminars that are coming up then here in Montana that they should take one in, and even if it's not real close, if it's not too far to travel, go to it.
It was worth it.
It's definitely worth it. A lot of good information that they share.
Yeah.
They're talking about one thing. What are we going to do if there's not another snowstorm? What if we don't have the moisture? But how does the lack of snow affect the economy? Well, it affects the snowmobilers, the skiers, those places that provide that as a destination. And then if we don't have more down the road, it gets dry. And so then it affects fishermen
Yeah.
and people that are wanting to get on the lakes and that kind of stuff. And then if it's really dry, then fire season comes around.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the topics.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the update. And while you were gone, Johnny and I were in here talking about women-owned businesses through the Rocky Mountain Women's Business Center.
Yes, and you had a text that came in, and that somebody was wanting to know more about that. So it might be a good idea.
Oh,
to
there
share
you
about
go.
that.
Could you tell me the name of the women's business organization? That was the Rocky Mountain Women's Business Center. Rocky Mountain Women's Business Center. And there's also the podcast. So if you somehow missed that, just go look at the Voice of Montana podcast. You get all the information you need. It was crazy because we were talking about that, and then we had a female business owner on in the second half of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of my day for my full-time job, the next 3 meetings I had were with women business owners. It was such a theme yesterday. It was so cool. It really just verified everything. That show was meant to be because the people I met were doing the thing. And it gave me a new outlook and perspective as I sat with them. It was really, really interesting. So as we get back into this conversation about small business, and we got a couple gentlemen that run this business, but I'm learning Montana is the 9th best startup early survival rate in the United States, which is good. That says something about our culture for startups and how people come around and support those. And you've been talking about that. You got Damian Forrester, one of the co-founders and co-owners of Sacred Grounds, and you've really felt that wave of love and support.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Thank you, Billings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, food service organizations are one of the leading small business employer industry in the industry here for Montana as well. So you guys are in the leading the charge on this kind of thing.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us again, just for the people maybe tuning in now, what is Sacred Grounds?
Yeah, so Sacred Grounds, first and foremost, is coffee shop. I know we don't say that a lot in our title, but we are a coffee shop that is unique, that I think we're the only ones, maybe not, that have coffee that is distributed from or imported from Portland, Oregon. And it's an organic-based company that gives back to their community and to a lot of other people. And so the coffee tastes great. We are also a healing studio, so there's a lot of metaphysical and holistic science to it. We are an art and retail shop also. So when I say art, we have an event center that we can do music, live music, karaoke, as well as open mics, and open mics has been amazing. And then finally, we have a retail spot in there by Scarves by Walt, and that he has some incredible designs that he distributes and sells out.
Yeah, I love how you have to walk in through all of these different elements just to get to the coffee.
Oh yeah.
Right? You've got a lot of crystals and other things, which you're not denominational in the sense that, don't let that scare you if that's new to you. But you're trying to kind of meet people where they're at, just on the soul level is what I'm feeling as I walk in.
Well, a lot of that was done on purpose, right? So we want people to come in, and before they get to that coffee spot, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, again, you get to see what we are all about between the modalities. And when I say modalities, people don't understand, I'm learning too. The Reiki, the reflexology, the sage, the stones, and then the event center to the right, and then heading straight up, we have very comfortable seating. So the seating is there for, if you come in, you're not calling, I make a joke of it, you're not calling the chiropractor 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Where a lot of coffee shops, it's just a lot of hard seating. But it's comfortable seating where you can feel comfortable doing things with other people in regards to just business and connecting. And then finally you get to coffee, which is just amazing.
But your coffee is very good. Did you guys spend a lot of time looking for that right coffee when it came down to it, or did you just know from a prior experience?
Well, for me, that wasn't my side of things, but I know a lot of research has been done. And, we contemplated thinking about who we can use in town. And there's a lot of great coffee shops in town. But I think we're unique and very different in taste. And you feel, when I say you feel, not just taste, you feel the difference in the coffee when you drink it.
Yeah. It's like a wonderland when you walk in. I mean, you can't even see the ceiling because there's all sorts of, I feel like you're in a dream. Tell us about the environment beyond just the offerings. That space is really decked out.
Yeah, so I mentioned before, we want to make sure it's when you come in there, it's a destination spot. It's a destination spot that gives you an experience, right? So outside of what you currently see right now, that stuff wasn't up. We had the first of its kind dry New Year's Eve party in Billings, Montana, which was a very much a success. And in that, we themed it out with Enchanted Forest Masquerade Party. So Mackenzie did all the work himself. I can't take any credit once again. Guy's vision is amazing. And so, we looked at it and we decided, you know what, we're going to leave this up because it looks like you're in an enchanted forest when you walk in there, between the colors and the browns and the blues and the pinks, and it's a combination that's absolutely amazing. So we decided, you know what, we're going to leave this thing up because it can go through spring, it can go through summer, and it was a lot of hard work to put up.
Yeah.
For Mackenzie.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, and I did not know that the party is what actually led to some of that.
Yeah.
And you guys just launched when?
So we launched last September. And then that's when we opened our doors. I mean, prior to that, July was when we started doing those floors and designs and the contracting and just redoing the whole facility, 5,000 square feet, to make it what it is today.
How has that customer base been growing? I mean, was it slow to start? Or did you guys have a good influx based on? I mean, you've been around here a long time.
Yeah, so we're a very unique color shop, right? So between we had to do a lot of social media free marketing, and then that, I guess, in that space, what I call the holistic space, there's a large community, and so they found us, and when finding us, other people found us, and it slowly grew to where we are right now, where I say every month since we've been open, our revenues but it has been increasing.
Yeah.
I really wish we had a drive-through. That would help a lot. But once again, it's a destination spot, so people actually have to come park and come in. And I'm actually happy they have to do that so they can see what we're all about.
Yeah. For those listening around the state, though,
yeah,
it is also, you have a website, and there's ways to engage and support your business there.
Yeah.
Even just some of the art that you guys have is up on your website, I saw. So what if speaking to a statewide audience, what do you want them to know, either about your culture or maybe things they can consider? Maybe there's someone at home thinking I should start a coffee shop, and
You know what, Montana and Montana, I love you. I've been here since 2005, but we're pretty vanilla, if you know what I'm saying, right? And I'll be honest with you, and so
real talk,
yeah. I mean, so what we're trying to infuse starting in Billings is culture. I mean, that's a big part of it too. So there are a lot of people that have been to foreign countries, but I also know there are people that have not even left the county. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you come to Sacred Grounds, you have an idea, or if you have questions, I've traveled a lot. And if you have questions about who we are, where we are, what we're all about, definitely feel free to ask any one of us, because we're trying to inject not only the culture and the sustainability of bringing people together and unifying, like I said, a non-denominational, doesn't matter who you are, where you are, if it's race, gender, come on in, understand, and be part of a community that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Now, something that I have not brought up yet is you are a veteran.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about your military. Former Marine, right?
Well, I'm always a Marine. I know you're a big guy, but I can throw. I joined the military when I was in college, reserves for 8 years. Camp Lejeune. I missed the big war where I had to actually go back to Buffalo, New York, where I was living at the time, and do training for cold weather, Buffalo, New York, cold weather and fast boat training. So I took those young devil dogs and took them out to Meaford, Canada, and showed them how to trap and a rabbit and dig holes and to stay warm and all that happy good stuff. So it was pretty incredible.
Yeah. So how long were you in total?
8 years total.
8 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then decided to come. Then I moved to Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
Then here.
How does that experience in the military shape what you're doing now, would you say? If you really just were to journal out loud right now.
If I were to journal right now, it's the commitment and the camaraderie with the boys and guys, the men that I still have, communication with, and just building community, So I will tell you what the Marine Corps did for me, and you've probably heard it before, even in movies or whatever. They strip you down and build you to the man, the person you should be. And that had a huge role in where I'm going, not only for myself, but my family and my community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I see that in Sacred Grounds when it comes to like that space itself. You kind of have to. You can go to the website and take a look and just get an idea. It fits how many people.
I would probably say, standing and just sitting comfortably. It says on the door about 225, but very comfortably about 100 people. Our event center sitting down up to 50 people. If we're dining in there, we did recently have a dining event. It was absolutely amazing. We plan on doing some amazing things in the future. For example, we're looking to do a multicultural night once a month. So the first one, I have a friend that's from Puerto Rico, and so we're looking to have salsa dancing, and all in that ticket would include the food from that country, the salsa dancing, cultural education at the same time. So people coming out and speaking, looking to have Native American, we're looking to have Eastern Europe. So a lot of different things. So the community, Billings, Montana, can understand different cultures.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the Filipino. If you like good food.
Oh yeah.
Have a Filipino night.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of them coming into the area as nurses and working in the medical field, and so teachers and that. So.
Yeah.
Hey, if anybody's listening right now, get in touch with me. We'll make it happen.
I know a guy who runs a food truck who probably would be willing to show up and do some things with you. So.
Let's go.
That eats good food.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm down for that.
There you go, man. That community aspect really, as you mentioned, through the military and, with what I do on a day-to-day basis for those listening, I help veterans. And that community is a very big deal, right? Like that camaraderie. And so for you to bring that military level heart for camaraderie to a space like this is just really special.
I appreciate that. And, you do some amazing work, and I'm hoping that we can work together too, to tell you the truth.
Oh yeah, we will. So, well, we're gonna go to break, and I want to come back and just give you some chance to say your last thoughts on and what people need to know. That's coming up next on Voices of Montana.
Did you know that rail is the
Good stuff.
Yeah.
We had
I'm not even looking at time. It's like you're talking.
I know. I don't even look at the time.
Yeah. When I post, I tell people, I say, just pretend we're sitting down having some coffee. Let's just talk. At times, I don't even have something to go, what questions are you going to ask me? Nope. Let's just talk.
Yeah.
Everything naturally comes. People are like to talk, right? Eventually, if you have a moment of silence, they're going to talk again. So it's great.
Yeah, that's good, man. I like to look up there's just some interesting, back when I was a journalist, people litter their stories with facts.
Yeah.
And I was always, my mentor said, just find one fact that you like. Right. And because if you find it interesting, other people will.
Oh, absolutely.
Too many facts, people don't remember that.
Right. You keep mentioning the whole per capita. When I heard Montana's just about 5 years ago, per capita had the most small businesses per capita in all the United States. And I was like, man, that's incredible. And I see it. There's so many here. Talking about contractors and different food that's coming in.
I think Brian just did a story that we're number 2 in self-employed in the country. Wyoming's number 3, but per capita we're number 2.
I love that per capita thing, because
without
it, we would be nuts.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's still untrue. We're like 33,000 people that are self-employed doing things.
That is incredible. Yeah.
It's a little over 33,000 people.
Per capita, we're the number 1 state for veteran population. Maybe per capita.
That's all right. But it means something.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Body counts.
It's a chunk of the that's here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
I get it.
Per capita.
Just right.
It's called the whiteout, and it requires confidence.
Okay, coming up on our time to go. And so when we come out, you'll have about a minute, a little over, almost 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Usually it's 45 seconds. So.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Welcome Welcome back to Voices of Montana, the fastest hour in radio. What'd you say, Damian?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It goes
Very
quick.
fast. It's like,
Who was that?
it's like, oh my gosh. That's what it was right there. It went so fast. You guys make it easy. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It was a lot of fun talking with you. And tomorrow I've got Neil Byer on. We're going to talk about some real estate
Neil's awesome.
trends and markets, things that people need to know. Friday we have our 4-H member spotlight. I won't be in, but that's going to be a great show as well. So make sure to tune in Friday. And as we get toward the end here, I just want, what are we missing? What do people need to know that we haven't talked about yet?
I think we pretty much covered a lot and everything between the holistic side, the art side, the coffee side, especially.
Let's hit this calendar of events because you
Let's
guys, just real quick, people, if they want to know, hey, maybe coffee's not my thing. You got great tea. You guys have great tea.
Oh gosh, yes, we do.
But you have this event calendar on your website. What's your website?
The website is sacredgroundsstudio.com.
Okay.
Sacredgroundsstudio.com, and you can also obviously catch us on Instagram as well as Facebook.
Okay. And people can usually, are a lot of these events open or?
Yeah, a lot of them are open. Very few are paid. We actually have yoga there also. So Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays Tuesday, Thursday, 1 and 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Great. No, that's great. So that is Sacred Grounds.
Sacred Grounds.
Located, what's the address again?
2950 King Avenue West.
Okay, you just go down King and you'll see a big thing that says espresso, and there you guys are. So,
that's right, with Pierce Lauren.
yeah, all right. Damian Forrester, thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow morning with Neil Byer on Voices of Montana. I'm Gabe Erickson.
Good job. Woo!